All right, winter camping. I'm going to show you everything I got in my pack so far to get ready for the trip to Halliburton winter camping with my friend Craig. I'd say this is about 90% of what I'm taking with me. I'm trying to fit everything in my pack. There's a few things that aren't here yet and that I haven't got yet, but it's mostly small stuff and food. So I'm going to try and open up my pack, take everything out and show you what I'm taking. And I'm going to try and burn through it and talk really fast so that this isn't a really long video. Okay, here we go. So this is my pack. I got it at Mountain Equipment Co-op. It's a 55-liter backpack. This is crazy heavy. I can lift it and get it on my back, but I'm really glad that I'm not hiking in with this amount of stuff because that would be pretty strenuous pretty fast. But having said that, I can get it up and walk with it, and it's not too terrible. But I'm packing knowing that I'm not hiking in, I'm skidooing in. Okay, I attached these wooden dowels. They have these drawstring elastic loops on the pack that are meant for ski poles, and I don't have ski poles, but I put these dowels that I happen to have through there, and I find it's handy to attach stuff to like horizontally to those. They're not heavy, they don't add anything to the weight. I think it's like it's just a softwood, but I like this setup so far. We'll see how it works. So on the outside I got my sleeping pad. It's called a Nemo Switch Pack. It's a fold-up one. Instead of rolling it up, you fold it up, and one side of it is aluminized, or whatever you call that, so it reflects the heat back up. You sleep with the aluminum side up. I got this doodad at Forest City Surplus. I'm quite impressed by this thing. It was $15. I kind of found it in the bottom of a bunch of stuff. I wanted to get a shovel just to have, and this is a shovel that you clip onto here. So there's your spade, but it also has a couple other things in this little kit. It becomes a hatchet. I feel like I'm not going to use that hatchet unless I absolutely have to, because it feels, like it would probably break. But I did think that one idea that I had was that you could use it as a splitter instead, and just use this part. I did tie a lashing onto this one day to support the end, just to support the blade, and it felt a lot more secure that way. So you probably could split some wood with that, but I just think it's neat as an option, just as a backup. And the other hidden gems in this little kit is inside of the handle. There is two other tools, one of which I didn't even notice when I bought it, found out when I got home and was pleasantly surprised. So there's a knife that you can clip in. I've seen a lot of guys in the camping stuff use this notch here to lift their pot off the fire, so you don't have to stick your hands in there. So it was kind of nice to see that can opener, or that notch on the end of the blade, so you can reach in with it and pull stuff out or whatever. And it's just an extra knife if you need it. So that goes back into there. And inside there's another blade, and it's a saw blade. So you pull whichever one you're not using out, and you put it in the bottom, and you put the one you're using in the top, and feed it in like that. So an extra saw blade. I was really happy with this thing. For it being so cheap, only $15, I was really, really happy about that. Okay, stick that back in there. So that's my combination emergency shovel, extra knife, extra saw, hatchet thingy. And it folds up really small. The spade part goes in my little side pocket here. I'm going to tie a lanyard around it so it can't fall out and fall off. And this part I'm just keeping attached to the dowel here. on the outside of my pack. So I got lots of rope. This is, I'll definitely have more rope attached when I actually go, but I got paracord for tarps and stuff. This is this cotton rope that I really like. It's super cheap. It's like $9 for 100 feet. It's like clothesline rope, but it's awesome for lashings and stuff where weight doesn't really matter, because it really grips to itself. It has a lot of friction, so it's awesome for lashings and just kind of basic, you know, tied off rope work where weight isn't a big issue. And then paracord for like tarps and stuff like that. In the outer pocket here, I have a pair of mitts, and there's a thinner pair of fleece mitts inside these mitts. My idea for keeping my hands warm is these are going to be my last resort. So these are kind of like my incubators. I'm only going to put my hands in these ones when my hands are getting really cold and I want to warm them back up. And then when I get my hands back up to like a reasonable warmth, they go back in my pack. That's the plan that I have. We'll see how that works. And I'm going to use my gloves for everything else. And my gloves, these are my gloves. I've had these for years. I kind of like them. They have a zipper pocket on the top, and you can put a hand warmer in there. That's where I'm going to keep my hand warmers, and when I shake them up and go to use them, I'll put them inside the glove, like literally in my hand. And I have some fleece thinner gloves that fit inside the outer ones. So there's that. Also in my outer pocket I have my saw that I got. So this is the Silky Gomboy fold-up tree saw, which I tried out at my Uncle Andy's farm and cut down a tree with it, and it's amazing. It cuts like a dream. It's not super long, so you can take down a tree about that width. You wouldn't really want to go any thicker than that, and you run the risk of like snapping the blade when you're going in that deep. But so there's my firewood saw. Comes with a carry case for it. So that's going to be in there too. And in the top of my pack, so in the very top of my pack, like this top pocket, I have a bag filled with pre-cut lengths of rope, which I'll organize a little bit more later on. I found it really handy when I did my test camp to have a bunch of pre-cut lengths that I know I need for different purposes. Like I figured out from practice that you need 5 feet for a square lashing, 9 feet for the tripod lashing, so you have some extra rope to dangle your pot from it, and having that stuff pre-cut so you don't have to think about that when you're out at the camp, I found really handy. So I'm going to have that kind of organized and ready to go, and that's just in the top part of my pack. There's an extra waterproof bag. On the inside of the top, in this mesh part, I have funnels. I'll show you what that's for in a minute. This is a rain cover. So this fits over my entire pack on the outside, and there's a drawstring that just draws it up, cinches it up tight. I intentionally bought one that's 2 sizes too big for this, so that it'll fit over everything that's hanging on the outside too, and I can just literally close the whole pack up inside it at night, and it's waterproof. This is an inflatable pillow that I got. In this Ziploc, there's 2 different headlamps, I used one at my Uncle Andy's, and he gave me these 2 to take. And they're a godsend. I loved using them, and having light with both your hands free was amazing. So that's it for that. Now into the main chamber of the backpack. This is my EDC kit, my everyday carry kit. I actually keep this kit in my car under the driver's seat. This was already the way it is here. I just added a few things to it for my camping trip. So I got a compass, USB charger for my phone, I got a flint, fire starter, and bathroom stuff, toothpaste, toothbrush, notepad, mirror in there, sutures, chapstick, Tylenol, Advil, Tums, lighter, just a lot of like kind of everyday stuff. And the outer part, of this thing is my, I have some extra band-aids and stuff like that. Just a little mini first aid kit. I have another first aid kit I'll show you too. So that's my everyday care. That's just a little flashlight in that part. I have this cute little pot that I got from Salvation Army for $4, and I love this thing. You can pull the handle off, and there's a lid, and there's even a fitted little bowl inside, removable bowl inside of it, so you can use that as your soup bowl and make your food in that. And it's all together. I'm gonna fill this cavity up with food when it's time to go, just to make use of the space. Use this funky elastic to keep it together. Put the handle back on. So that's my pot. It worked great on my test camp. I really like that thing. Everything clothing-wise, pretty much everything period inside my backpack. I have these waterproof sacks that I got from Mountain Equipment Co-op. So that's my sleeping clothes. So it's like a polyester long sleeve shirt and a polyester like long johns in that one. And this is these crazy thick, they call them reading socks that they sell at Chapters. These are gonna be my bedtime socks to keep my feet warm. There's two really ridiculously huge pairs of socks in this one bag. One pair for each night. This bag is full of like merino wool socks that I got from Mountain Equipment Co-op. They're really comfortable, they're super warm, I've tried them, and they actually weren't that expensive. The guy at the store pointed them out to me and said these are awesome merino wool socks and they're not ridiculously expensive. So I got 6 pairs in there, and that's my socks for moving around in and doing work and, you know, sweating throughout the day. So I also have, I'm sure this thing will probably get destroyed on the way there and bent all out of shape in my pack, but I'm bringing it anyway just to see. I found when I was melting snow for water on my test camp that no matter how clean a spot you gather up the snow from to melt, there's always like dirt and little particulates and stuff in the water afterwards, which is not a big deal. Like, I drank the water that I boiled and I wanted to, you know, see if it gave me a stomach ache or anything like that, and there was no issues at all. But I just thought it would be nice to have like a screen strainer to put over the pot to filter out the little specks of dirt and stuff like that that's in the snow. So I'm gonna take that. These things I'm excited about trying. This is my idea. I don't know how this is gonna work because I've never really tried this part of it, but I'm determined to use these hot water bottles that I got from work. They were on sale. They were $7 each. So they were really cheap. I've used these with my son, who's 4, and he sleeps on a bed right where I'm demonstrating here, and in the wintertime it's a little chilly, so I'll actually fill up one of these hot water bottles with hot water before bedtime, and he'll sleep with it in his bed to warm him up. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I tied this new knot that I learned called a jug sling knot around the neck, and my idea with this is that we don't have to risk hurting ourselves to fill these up with boiling water. We can stick the funnel in the top, and hold these strings, or hook the other one handle on a tree branch or whatever, and then we can pour the boiling water in and we don't have to risk spilling it on our feet or our hands or whatever. And that's my idea for kind of having a heat source after the fire goes out at night, so one maybe under your feet while you're sleeping in the tent, or even if it's too hot and it's going to make you sweat or something, even I figured just having these in the tent will add a little bit of heat to the space. I also thought it might be handy to put some of the things that you want to keep warm on top of one of these, even if it's not for your personal warmth, like maybe in a separate bag on top of this, you could put your phone, your batteries, your electronic stuff that you don't want to zap the battery with the cold. You could keep it on that. So that's my grand idea for that. I have 2 for me and 2 for my friend Craig. And they do fit nice and flat in the back of my pack, so they don't take up much room. You're probably gonna laugh at me when I take this thing out, but I like this. So this is a waterproof bag again. And this is gonna be, I just saw this at Value Village. It was like, I don't know, $5 or something. And it's a wooden box for like wine or something. It's really light. I think it's pine, so it's super, super light. It adds almost no weight to the pack. And it's gonna be my little kitchen. So I'm gonna fill this thing with food, and I got my, appliances and cutlery and stuff like that. I just got some tea and some sunflower seeds in there at the moment. But I'm gonna fill this thing, pack this thing right to the top with food. And this is going to be my little kitchen. There's something about a wooden box that I remember from camping, and it's been a long time, but I remember just really liking boxes because it gives you a level surface to set stuff on, and I really like that this box also has a rope handle on top. You can hang it from something if you wanted to, off to the side or whatever, but I got a waterproof pack that fits it, so I figure that's going to be my little kitchen. And I don't know, maybe I'll put all my kitchen and food stuff in this bag, which is bigger than it needs to be, so I could fit more in it. And I figure I'll wrap it up at the end of the night, click it shut, tie a rope around the top of it, and hang it up in a tree so the coyotes and bears or whatnot don't get into it. So that's everything about the main chamber of my bag. We're pretty much getting to the end here. I have a thermos. It's a pretty big one. It's just like, obviously, you know how a thermos works and why I'm explaining it. On the outside of my pack, I have just a few other things. I have a fold-up knife. I don't know, I've had this knife for a while. It's nothing special, but it's super sharp, and yeah, I'm gonna just keep that on the outside just as an extra one to have. This thing here, this is random, but my cousin Jeff, who's a halibut fisherman, or was in BC, he gave me this when we were out filming a commercial for his company. And they use these to clip fishing lines onto the main drag lines, or whatever you call them, in the water. So these things are great. Like you can just clip it onto anything, and it'll hold whatever you want, and you hang whatever you want off of that clip. So I thought it would be good to either hang something off of a tarp line or hanging over the fire. You can just, tie a rope onto the end of that and then clip that onto your pot or whatever. On the outside, I also have a first aid kit here that has, gauze and just about everything you'd need for first aid. My idea with the work gloves here that I've seen a lot of guys on the Instagram accounts and all that stuff, which I think is a great idea, is to just have work gloves. insulated leather work gloves, which you could use just as work gloves when you're cutting up the tree or whatever, so that you're not getting your winter gloves all sweaty, and so that your hands aren't freezing in them later, which was exactly my experience when I did my test camp. I did all my work with my with these gloves on, and by the time I had that tree cut up, these gloves were absolutely soaked from the inside with sweat and snow. So instead I'm going to use the work gloves, and then afterwards the work gloves become your oven mitts when you're working over the fire and taking pots and pans and grills and whatnot off the fire. Those are your hand protection, so you don't get, hopefully don't get burned when you're working on the fire. Outside of what's in my pack, well, I don't know where I put it, but I have a larger, like probably four or five times the size of that little pot. I have a large cooking pot with handles that you could tie a rope around and suspend to boil water or whatever, and I'm going to take that too. And I have a couple camp washcloths that slash towel that, you know, fold up into nothing, and I'll just suspend those from the outside of my pack. But so other than the food and some more clothing that's going to go in there, like my full set of clothes for the next day, which I have an extra bag for, that's pretty much my setup. So tell me what you think, guys. Yeah.